Good afternoon, friends and comrades. I'd like to read to you a statement that I wrote and read at the General Assembly in Boston last year. It was my first time back in Boston in quite a few months. It was December 16th. I would like to make a brief statement as a former member of Occupy Boston who has been away for some time, but my reflection of the movement in general and what I think Occupy Boston can do to try to rebuild the movement. For those of you who don't know me, as I'm aware that in spite of GA participation lessening over the months, there are some new members who come. My name is Alex Suarez. I have traveled to many Occupies and seen camps close. I've taken part in civil disobedience. Indeed, just over a year ago, I was one of the 46 arrested on Dewey Square. Since then, I have learned many lessons in the history of American activism in my generation. There is much talk of outreach, which is no doubt important, but we must be strategic on outreach, reaching the right people. We're just another solicitor when we do not focus on targets and randomly give out info to people on the so-called 99% movement. There is still a significant amount of the American populace, even the youth, who are unaware of Occupy Wall Street. Indeed, some know of the Greek or Spanish protests, but little of the protests of their own country. As a freelance journalist, besides an activist, there is little doubt on the importance of having our own voice, our own media, and reaching out to media outlets, such as local or alternative media, to also voice our grievances, and we plan to do to change the unjust system. I think at the very least there is a consensus on the system being unjust, and we need to fight against it somehow. The distrust of corporate media and how they have portrayed us is understandable. More and more people look to alternative means to find the news. Chomsky says the so-called mainstream is not with the people, and is in fact propaganda. We must speak the truth to the masses, be above the so-called mainstream. Our camps were our own society. Without camps, we must strive to implement a new society on the streets. This will inevitably also be a difficult task, but as Frederick Douglass said, there is no change without struggle. We are in the low point of the movement, but that does not mean it is beyond repair or other movements can come about from our efforts, which could not have been in vain. Nevertheless, the focus must be 90% on rebuilding the movement, talking to former comrades, trying to bring them back. Indeed, talking to each other till our faces are blue. We need dialogue to mediate our problems, and if we find in our investigations people have been wrongfully accused or treated bad by the movement in the past, then we invite them back, make statements clearing them. We, of course, must also make sure we are in safe environments and people are treated with respect, their rights respected, whether they are part of affinity or working group or not. To conclude, the old guard, who have much more experience than us in activism, must unite with the new guard. We must work together, learn from one another, reconcile our differences, end the paranoia and hate, bring the love and solidarity so that we can truly progress and make a modern movement, adapting to the times, but also sharing universal revolutionary, non-violent values, which are in essence timeless. We must build trust with one another. I am only here for a visit, but I intend to move back to Boston, and it is my hope that I may continue activism with you. Thank you, friends and comrades, for listening. So after reading that, everybody gave the tingly fingers up, which is pretty much a way for the occupiers to applaud. So it was well received. It was a small GA, but it was worth going to, and I hope that we can rebuild this movement, friends and comrades. I hope to be back in New England soon.